The following is an AZPM original production.
Arizona Science is supported by Research Corporation for Science Advancement.
For Arizona Public Media, I'm Leslie Tolbert, Regents Professor Emerita in Neuroscience at the University of Arizona, and this is Arizona Science. Today our guest is Karletta Chief, Director of U of A's Indigenous Resilience Center, which is part of the Arizona Institute for Resilience. Karletta is a Diné hydrologist and holds the first Agnes Elms-Howery Endowed Professorship in Indigenous Resilience. Karletta, congratulations, and thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks for inviting me here. I'm truly honored to receive this professorship, and its inaugural declaration is really exciting for me and what it will hold for future individuals that hold the position.
Sounds like an important step for the university to have taken.
It sure is, because a chair like this is unprecedented in the United States and particularly for this region. But it is quite common in Canada, where they have invested a lot in indigenous chairs on certain subjects and expertise, and they do have several in the water and the environment.
Well, let's start with a little bit about your background. Where did you grow up, and when did you decide to devote your career to issues surrounding environmental sustainability and environmental justice, including issues relating especially to pollution and water use?
I grew up on the Navajo Nation, and my family lived within the Peabody leasehold area. So I grew up seeing the mining around me, the land surface mining explosion, water contamination, and literally my family was right there where the mining was occurring. And so my family had to move because our corral was caught on fire from the mining. And my family has lost a lot in terms of their ancestral land and having to rebuild and relocate. And that's similar for many of the Navajo families living in the Peabody leasehold area.
So this is very personal to you.
It is very personal, and that's actually what motivated me to even go to college. And I wanted to work towards environmental protection and helping my community deal with the sort of environmental contamination.
So you're especially making efforts to develop climate adaptation solutions that start by respectfully engaging tribal leadership and expertise. Is that right?
Yes, I went to get my Ph.D. in the area of hydrology with the intent to work with tribes one day. And I wasn't able to do that till I was towards the end of my postdoctoral fellowship at Desert Research Institute. And in that, I worked with the Pyramid Lake Paiute tribe, who was very concerned about climate change. And they had a lot of different views when it comes to adaptation when you compare farmers and tribes. And so that's where my work began, and really learning through that partnership is that tribes are going to uniquely be impacted by climate change because of their deep connection to the environment, the livelihoods that they hold, and just their beliefs about Mother Earth and Father Sky.
So you do a lot of research connecting indigenous populations with the science of water use in particular. Tell us about the details of that.
Yeah, so I'm an extension specialist. So as the University of Arizona is a land grant university, there are faculty that do our work and our teaching and our research in the communities. So it's community-driven research that aims to increase the health of the community, change behaviors, and provide education. I really wanted to focus on tribal communities in the state of Arizona. So providing education around water quality, watershed management, and then the impacts of climate change and mining and water policy as well, to tribal environmental managers, tribal communities, and also tribal colleges.
Is it difficult to mesh longtime customs with the need to conserve clean water, or are people looking for ways to adjust the longtime customs that might be causing pollution so that it's less of an issue?
Yes, many tribes are already involved in sustainable practices that come from their culture and the environment that they are in. So conservation is key, but at the same time, water access is an issue, particularly on the Navajo Nation. And so when it comes to climate change impacts, the main concerns are pollution of water sources as well as overuse by off-tribal water users, and then how to manage water as they are changing in where water occurs and the quality of the water.
Climate change really impacts a lot of what you do. I'm sure it's always been an issue to be respectful of the environment, but with climate change, what are the particular things that are most concerning to you right now?
I think what's most concerning to me in terms of climate change is drought. And drought is going to really impact those that don't have access to water to begin with. Water users, particularly on the Navajo Nation, where they're driving 20 to 40 miles to get their water. And if they're hauling water and that water source diminishes, how will they get water?
So, what are some examples of how you address that problem?
Supporting the tribe in their advocacy for settling their water rights. So right now, the Hopi, Navajo Nation, and the Yavapai Apache have come together to create the Northeastern Water Settlement. And it has been going through the Colorado River Basin as well as now at Congress. And if that is successful and if it does pass through Congress and it's signed off by the president, then that could be a game changer for many of the tribes because it'll provide funding for water infrastructure, such as water pipelines through those regions from Lake Powell down through the western part of the Navajo Nation and down to the Yavapai Apache and then spurting out to the Hopi tribe. And that could really positively impact those who don't have water right now, get access to the Colorado River.
So is there something in particular that you wish you could be addressing?
Yes, there has been a lot of commitment to work with students, to work with communities. And many tribal nations and leaders want to train up the next generation of environmental leaders. And so the reason for that is because when you have children going to college, you want them to come back so that there's not a brain drain occurring on tribal lands. And so that's a concerted effort to have that pipeline from tribal communities to the university to train them on these various food, energy, water technologies and sciences. It's very focused when you're working with Native American students because their pathways to college are very different. They may be first generation, they may not have the scholarships or the financial backing support to go to college. In addition, the cultural adjustment is challenging for them. And so it's really important to have faculty and staff who understand that journey.
And when they go back to their communities, they must sometimes feel very awkward because suddenly they are representing what they've learned in a university that has so many different perspectives. Is it hard to go back and be effective? Or are there mechanisms in place that will help them to engage their communities in the kind of conservation that's needed, in understanding what it is that tribal leadership needs?
Yes, and what you're asking is a very complicated and deep subject matter about the Native American student journey through academia. And there are individuals that do research in this area. They're experts. And as the University of Arizona, we need those types of individuals that understand what are the support mechanisms for supporting a Native American student in that journey to come to the University of Arizona, but then go back to their community. And we can do that through not only supporting them here while they're here, but also supporting their opportunities to go back to the communities. And that involves working with the tribes to open up opportunities for internships, as well as opportunities to do research with the tribal communities. They're on campus, but they're also going home to do their research, to do their academic development.
Tell me about the endowed professorship that you have.
Yes, I'm just very honored to be the first individual to hold this professorship, but it could not have been possible without the Agnes Nelms Howry Foundation here at the University of Arizona. And they have been critical and of tremendous help to starting the Indigenous Resilience Center and framing it in a way that we're not talking about the vulnerability of Native Americans or the lacking of certain things, but really focusing on the resilience, place-based, community-based solutions that they have, traditional knowledges that can contribute to understanding the environment, that can be complementary to data, scientific data, health data. That's really important. And together with tribal communities and our partners, we can work towards co-designing solutions and technologies that will address environmental challenges that tribes face.
Karletta Chief is a professor in the College of Agriculture, Life, and Environmental Sciences. Thank you so much for talking with us. You can listen to this and all Arizona Science conversations at azpm.org/Arizona Science. I'm Leslie Tolbert.
Thank you to Research Corporation for Science Advancement for their support of Arizona Science. AZPM podcasts are made possible in part by donations from listeners like you. Learn more at support.azpm.org. Thank you.